Raycall versus Meteor Makers. This is a round of 8 match. Winner of this series is actually going to be playing the winner of Eclipsia and Kiedis Mialam for round of 4 semifinals.
Yeah, those are definitely going to be some exciting games. I hope that Zaru is doing okay. MYM was saying that they thought he was having some internet issues. So, you know, hopefully he has everything worked out. He's going to be able to come in here and play really well. But yeah, it is going to be exciting to see. If you haven't noticed, Candy Panda is actually subbing in for Fnatic. So, you know, kind of a break. It's been a while since we've seen Candy Panda. He was with SK for a while. But it was kind of always an issue with Candy Panda in the past where all the teams he's been with, you know, people have kind of made statements about his work ethic and whatnot.
He's always very naturally talented as an AD carry and has been very strong, but people are always kind of questioning his attitude towards the team. But we'll see how he does. If he joins up with another team, at the very least, he's going to make for a fine sub today.
Yep, and MYM straight out of the gate, they do not want to have to deal with that. Jace, Shen, a very big name ban also. Sona and the Zillion ban coming in from Fnatic. Is MYM doing a bit of Zillion lately?
I don't know. I'm assuming that they do. Banning out Yorick as well, so I guess they must be running some sort of revive thing. I know we had seen in the past MYM run a Karthus Yorick revive strategy. So I don't know if
right.
Zillion's kind of made its way in there.
Well, that explains both the Zillion and the Yorick bans there, so yeah.
But we'll see where, you know, what they're trying to do. A couple of those top laners being banned out, and so really just scared of Soaz. I mean, Soaz has been such an unbelievable top laner. XPK has been as well, but XPK isn't nearly as aggressive as Soaz is in the top lane. XPK, you know, he's very strong at making plays in the mid game and team fights and whatnot, but you don't expect to lose the mid lane. It's kind of, you know, passive lane. But Soaz, if you give him one of those top champions that he's just dominant with, that's a really dangerous prospect. They do still have the Riven though, like you had said. He does play a lot of Riven. He played a lot of Riven back when he was with Against All Authority. Yeah. I would expect though probably an Ezreal here.
And Nunu's also
Nunu
open
as well. Yeah. Ezreal or Nunu are probably going to be the pick.
So we'll see. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We're going to see it. There's a Malphite is open. They've actually been playing a bit of Malphite recently also, but we'll actually stick with the Ezreal. Better choice there. Not sure. It's strange too. You have that inkling. It's like, oh, they are thinking about Malphite. Does MYM want to take Malphite just to make sure that Fnatic doesn't take it? They could be trying to force MYM into making some picks they may not otherwise want to make.
Yeah, it should be kind of interesting to see how they respond now, because we've been seeing a lot of really aggressive Ezreal lanes. I mean, such a safe AD carry that Blitzcrank and Leona are both very common. So I'm kind of curious whether or not MYM will be comfortable with sending Nunu in the jungle, picking up Nunu, but then also picking up one of those supports like Blitzcrank in order to kind of shut down that lane. Though Nunu as a support, he does work very well against those kind of aggressive supports. You can just kind of tank up all the frontline damage. So it will be a safe pick for them, and you know, definitely makes sense. They might just go ahead and pick Graves now, and you know, be happy with their bot lane. Yeah,
with Graves and Nunu in that bot lane, that Blood Boil is going to make him super speedy. All the extra move speed and attack speed. Actually going with the Udyr. So this is still semi-ambiguous because Udyr, he can jungle also, but he can also top lane. So MYM may be looking to pull the wool over Fnatic's eyes here with these two first initial picks.
Yeah, it is kind of interesting. It's been a while since we've seen an Udyr. He used to be just absolutely unstoppable in the top lane, and with all these top lane champions banned out, they might very well go with the Udyr. So, you know, Udyr, he does pretty well against Shen, but I could see how Jace and Rengar could potentially give him some issues. So maybe, you know, he doesn't want to have that matchup, but we'll see. It's probably going to be a jungle, though. It's been a while since I've seen a top Udyr. Jungle's a little bit more common. Now, because they know that they have such an aggressive jungler, they're going to need a speed jungler themselves. You know, either it's going to be Nunu or Udyr. Either way, it's going to have a lot of control. So they're probably going to want someone, Skarner, Shyvana, Nocturne, Mundo, who just has that really fast clearing speed. I mean, that's kind of the standard anyway, what you expect from the jungle. But we'll see, you know, what they're going. XPK actually going to be going with the Zyra. So that's, you know, definitely going to be very strong. And, you know, we've seen how strong the Zyra has been in the past.
Yeah, and Zyra is also not an unknown champ to Fnatic. You also get the Lee Sin, more than likely going to be going into the jungle there again, just like Udyr. He could also top lane, but more than likely going to be seeing him in the jungle. And with the Kennen being considered for MYM, again, more ambiguous picks. Could go mid, could go top. He's trying to keep Fnatic guessing here.
Yeah, we'll see where they go with this.
I would expect them to pick that Kennen for the mid lane and then pick their AD champion here, just so that they can leave the top lane open as that counter pick. And that's usually what you want to do as the purple team, which is what it seems like they're doing. So Udyr in the jungle, Kennen mid, and then leave open that last pick to see which one's going to be going top and try and counter pick them. But I don't know, they have a very ticky team right now. They just don't have a lot of damage. So Kennen and Udyr they have a decent amount early.
And if you do go for the Kennen here, Kennen and Udyr together, if you are looking to stack up on the damage, you're looking for a lot more AoE oriented damage. Vayne being considered there.
That's dangerous.
That is a little dangerous. And a Lux. Going to be going in the mid. Interesting. And we've been seeing a fair amount of Lux play also from teams over in Asia, especially we've seen some play also in Korea. And the Lux is starting to have a little bit of a resurgence.
Yeah, that's definitely interesting. I mean, she has the long-range poke. She has long-range damage. She can clear waves fairly quickly. It's the map control she provides with her ultimate is pretty nice, even though it's not global. The length is just long enough. But the concern with Lux is her cooldowns. When her abilities are off cooldown, then you're not really accomplishing a whole lot. And also whether or not she actually has enough damage with her full combo. She has enough to single target burst someone, but we'll see. We'll get back into that pick for a second because Fnatic, they're actually doing some interesting things. So I'm kind of curious whether or not the Malphite would be going top or in the jungle, because it is more common to see Lee Sin in the jungle. I think Fnatic's one of those few teams that likes running Lee Sin jungle a lot. But I don't know. We'll see if they're just going to run the Malphite top. It is a very safe lane. And actually, no, I guess... So it's Zyra support.
It's Zyra support.
Actually, I think I've seen this from Fnatic recently. I'm trying to remember. I think it was Fnatic versus Moscow 5. Not in our stream.
Yeah.
Fnatic versus Moscow 5. They ran Zyra support, I believe, not that long ago. So that is probably going to be a support Zyra. So that's definitely going to be pretty interesting. And then Vladimir as the last pick for MYM. Definitely a strong choice there because they need more damage right now, and a lot of their damage is focused on Vayne. They have a decent amount of burst and single target, but really, if Fnatic gets that tanky kind of frontline team, other than Vayne, they didn't have enough damage to take him down. So now, Vayne's also single target damage. So with the single target damage dealer, you need a mix of AoE. Vlad rounds out their team pretty nicely, but Vayne is definitely going to be in a dangerous situation. He's going to need to take cleanse, just because there's so much pressure from them. Having Zyra, Malphite, and Diana on the enemy team is just devastating. Lee Sin as well. It's going to be very easy for them to burst down Vayne, and then they're going to miss out on a large portion of their damage.
And not to mention that a lot of the damage from the team that MYM is making here is only going to start becoming relevant as you see these champs getting their farm. This is a very mid to late game team because Vlad does a lot of damage once he gets his farm. Same thing with Lux, and Vayne needs that farm. Otherwise, she's just made completely irrelevant in those team fights because she's so incredibly squishy.
This is going to be scary, and I really hope that Knights is taking cleanse because N-Rated is going to be playing Zyra support, and N-Rated, he's always been a very aggressive bot lane. He's moved into the Lulu a bit, but he used to play a lot of Leona, and those skill shots, he likes that skill shot harass. You hit it with the glitter lance on Lulu, you can hit anything. And Zyra, it's so easy for Zyra to burst someone down. If Zyra ever catches Vayne in a snare, Vayne's just going to be screwed in that bottom lane. And not having a heal on the support, having Nunu, that's going to make things very difficult. Nunu's going to want to try and zone off Zyra and not allow Zyra to harass down Knights, but not having that cleanse is a very dangerous situation. So we'll see how he does. Heal is very common on Vayne as well. I'm not saying that it was a poor decision on his part. Heal will be very strong for dueling. Vayne and Nunu, when the two of them are going at it, as long as they can dodge those snares, then they're going to be fine. And Vayne does have that little tumble to make sure she keeps out of those snares. It's just dangerous if they hit her with anything. So we'll see where they kind of go with it. But definitely some interesting strategies from both teams.
Yeah, it's in that, and it's also a little bit hard to duel when you have Zyra Vayne's gluing you to the ground. Being a stationary object, you don't get to go very far. So yeah, it's a very high risk, high reward comp here for MYM. But if they manage to stick it through, if they manage to get past 25 minutes, 30 minutes, they can get all their farm on. If they can manage to get into those big damage items, it could happen. But it's a very uphill battle for them to get there, especially with the season. And Zyra support, let's talk a little bit about her too, because that's something that's starting to pop up a little bit more often lately. What's Zyra going to be providing for Ezreal in that bot lane?
killing potential. I mean, she's just going to throw off the snares. If they hit someone, they're going to kill them. That's, as we've been saying, that's kind of what's going to happen. Or, what they're going to be looking to happen. Zyra just has so much damage. The base damage on the seedlings is so strong. If you hit a snare with those seedlings in place, it really is phenomenal. Candy Panda running some utility, which is interesting. I've actually kind of been wondering, for his masteries at least, I've kind of been wondering about people running mana regen, masteries, and whether or not that would be a strong, choice for in a lot of situations. And having Ezreal needing to spam that mana definitely works out. Pretty common stuff. Malphite is running movement speed, which is a little unusual, but I'll continue running through some of these. I don't know, it's going to be an interesting matchup, standard runes and masteries for Udyr. I am interested to see how they get Lux into the game, though, because in the past, when we've seen, like, OG and LoL, when we've seen Azubu Frost play Lux, actually, it worked with a speed jungler. Like, it was Skarner, actually, that they used, but Udyr works very well as well. And what it enables is it's going to allow Mokat to really be aggressive in counter jungling. He's just going to be able to roam around the map, try and be extremely aggressive, bully people around. And Udyr 1v1s, he's one of the best duelers in the game because he has really strong early game damage. He has the mobility and whatnot, natural tankiness. But then Lux gets to come in and snipe people from a distance. So that's definitely an interesting matchup. Looking at Lux's runes and masteries real quick, she's running a nice mix of armor and MR, but movement speed also, so kind of defensive. She doesn't want to allow Diana to burst her down, but then the movement speed will allow her to roam a little bit. So no defensive masteries, running utility, even more movement speed. So she's going to have that movement speed to kind of roam around the map, try and pick people off, and we'll see how Zaru does in that mid lane.
And Lux is capable of doing a little bit of passive farm on her own, throw down the orb, get those last hits on some creeps if necessary, but Diana is Diana is incredibly bursty, and if Diana gets in onto Lux in mid, especially after 6, you just land the Q, you just hit the combo, and Lux is going to be in a boatload of trouble. It could be very difficult. Any lead, any even minute lead Diana gets in mid could snowball very hard, especially against someone like Lux.
Yeah, and we've seen Fnatic use Diana in the past. She's really strong when you can split lanes, and a lot of times Soaz does like to split that top lane. But I don't know, her burst potential is very nice. She combos very well with Malphite because you can kind of dive in as the assassin, as Diana, and then Malphite follows up with initiation, and it actually gives Diana a little bit of time to disengage, or she can follow up on Malphite, either or. But that's
same thing with Lee Sin.
Right, same thing with Lee Sin. But it is going to be interesting to see how Zaru plays Lux, because I think that Lux could actually do very well versus Diana. Having that snare, whenever Diana goes for that head-on dive, Lux will be able to shut her down. So that's going to be kind of an interesting setup to see whether Lux can harass effectively and try and shut down Diana a little bit. One of the issues with Lux's harass in lane is so much of it is dependent on hitting her E, which means that you're naturally pushing the lane. So it's kind of difficult to not push the lane as Lux, but we'll see if that can maybe deny some farm from Diana.
Yeah, and also you continue to push the lane, and you're going to give all the time in the world for Cyanide to actually come around back in and possibly snipe a kill or assist onto the Lux. And I do like the Lee Sin pick here too, because you're going to be. One of the big things with Lee Sin is that he needs kills, he needs assists to really get the ball rolling on him, and you have a lot of opportunity here. I mean, you're going to have Lux naturally pushing, you're going to have Vayne very squishy down there to bot lane with the Zyra support to come on in, and is also a fast enough jungler to try and mitigate attempts at counter jungling coming in from Udyr also.
Yeah, and the really nice thing with Lee Sin is his quick single target burst.
Yes.
Mobility. So those early fights are going to be very nice. Having the Ezreal and Lee Sin, they have a lot of mobility and a lot of that ranged pick-off potential. They're going to try and grab someone with either Lux or Zyra. Either Diana or Zyra, and set up kills that way. So we'll see how that works. The shield onto onto Diana will also be very accommodating. But I don't know. We'll see where they're kind of going with this, and how Lux is planning on playing. I'm kind of excited about all these new champs.
So everyone is looking to split up. I think both teams are looking to get their point defense on. You see Lux escorting Vayne over onto the blue buff. You got Lee and Diana poking out in mid just to make sure that no one's entering the lanes from the center. Lee Sin with the Q to clear off that brush as well. So all entrances are pretty much covered by both teams. So I don't think we're going to be seeing an invade here.
This is actually kind of reminding me of the OGN because I think they had the Lux versus Diana in that mid lane, and Rapid Star playing Lux. I don't remember if Diana was banned that game, but it was a while back when they had played. It's probably almost a month ago. But I think they ran the Lux versus Diana matchup. At the very least, Lux, Rapid Star did really well in that game. So we'll be able to see how he's going to progress. Everyone's just kind of playing defensively right now. No one really wants to engage. Both teams have a decent level 1, but no real quick kill advantage. Neither team really has the potential to just instantly kill someone.
Right.
So if that's the case, it would just be a long, kind of awkward fight with people slowly dying, maybe resulting in multiple kills. No one really wants that, so they'll just kind of sit back.
Minions have
and we'll see how they progress. Lee Sin is going to be starting down at the red, though. We'll see if he transitions over to blue after these Wraiths.
You also got Vayne and News sticking around for a little while there near the river. River, actually north of the top and bottom of the South River, have actually been warded by Fnatic. So they're going to have a lot of coverage there, and possibly being a little bit protective. A little bit protective of their mid and their bot. They want to make sure that no invades happen. But MYM, they do not know the wards are in the river. They do not know. Fnatic knows. Candy Panda with a blind shot into the brush. You got Lux with the stun. The root down onto Cyanide does force the flash out. Nates gets a little low. He is caught by the branches from Zyra, but they will be able to get out. Lee Sin still securing the red, but Mokadi's actually going for an invade down onto the blue, and we're going to have another quick pause here. So Mokadi getting a quick invade, and I think that was more of a distraction tactic from MYM to clear time for Udyr to actually get in there.
Yeah, and at the very least, Udyr being, or his team being aggressive down at the red, it does allow Mokadi to steal this very easily, and so they were pretty safe. They know they can get out fairly easily. They did kind of risk Vayne there a little bit because it was a 4v3.
Yeah.
But by putting pressure on that red, they at the very least know that Udyr is safe, so he's going to be able to take a nice advantage there. Lee Sin is making his way up, but it's going to be too late. Udyr already has control of that blue, so we'll see where Lee Sin kind of goes from there. If he tries to follow after Udyr, knowing if he sees that the blue's gone, that Udyr's probably going straight back into his jungle, he might try and follow it up, but he did use Smite on his red, so Udyr does actually have a little bit of an advantage right now because he will be able to get a fast clear on red and have the double buffs.
Yep, and Cyanide, he will have some other options. He can just take the loss, continue to jungle on his own neutral creeps. He could, knowing that Udyr's nearby, he could attempt very risky attempt to go and steal enemy red. Udyr's going to be not too far away. He held onto it. There you go.
He actually used the smite.
He did use it.
I thought he was going to hold off on using it. So he does use the smite in the end.
And then, and then Cyanide, he could also opt to go invade on the enemy blue to make sure that he still has double buff, but he is a little weak. He's a little low after that scuffle, so he's going to go back. Potion up, ward up, XPK in the mid, does get exhausted. Mokadi looking for more damage, stun, unbear stance, but XPK will still live about 250 health there. So Udyr getting some anger in, getting some aggression there in the mid, helping the Zara's going to be pushing mid lane anyway, so you might as well push it out a little bit further.
Yeah, but Zara's going to be able to zone out XPK a little bit. So he already hit the snare early on. XPK needs to make sure that those don't land in the future. But hitting that early snare really set up that gank nicely. And now he has to play kind of defensively early on. He can't really go in that aggressively. He won't be able to farm quite as much as he would like to. But we'll see how he keeps up. And it's going to be interesting, though, to see at what point he tries to turn it around onto Zaru. If he waits until, level 6 in particular, so that he is able to get past that snare. But even then, I think that Lux should be able to snare him mid-jump.
Yep. And Fnatic getting pretty aggressive here in the bot. You got Zyra with you. Of course, he can do so. If MYM wants to get out from beneath their tower, they do risk getting rooted by those vines. Top lane, you also got... Oh, and even then, you got those seedlings being able to close so much distance. It's like, Vayne, you want to stick around? You want to try and farm? No, my plants have something to say about that. And Lee Sin, he will be going in for the invade on the blue, but Udyr will be finding him.
Mokadi coming down, Cyanide is kind of low, and Udyr actually has the double buff, so he's going to kill him very quickly. Cyanide almost dropping one more attack, and he is going to go down. So first blood for Udyr just being a little bit too aggressive and kind of careless is kind of a risky decision to always go for that counter jungle. So Udyr has a really nice advantage, and considering his jungling speed, that's going to be huge. And now it actually forces them to play defensively. So if Udyr can take advantages in the jungle, it will actually negate some of the advantage that N-Rated is going to try and build up in the bot lane as Zyra, since we've already seen how aggressive he can be versus Vayne and harassing her down.
Yeah, and Cyanide, you saw what he did. He was hugging the wall behind the blue buff. It was like, okay, I have a ward, I can shield to it. Crap, my shield is down. I can't actually get there. You saw him freeze for a moment, wondering, he's like, why is this not working? But wait, I can save the ward. So at the very least, if he's going to go down, he can put the ward down in the river in a little bit more of a logical and more useful warding spot. But unfortunately, his shield did not come up in time. Mokadi looking for the stun, forcing the flash out from N-Rated. He is caught in the brush. The stun going to grab him outside, and there you go. Mokadi getting the credit for that one. Olympic getting very low, flashing out post Zyra passive just to make sure that an arrow shot from Ezreal didn't take him out.
Yeah, very close. Ezreal almost had it if he had just hit a missing shot. But nice turnaround from Udyr, and that's what I was talking about, the jungle control. But they didn't have any ward coverage up, so you know, that's going to kind of impact this bottom lane. They need to get up that early ward coverage, considering how strong Udyr is right now and how he's already taking advantage of that lane. But we'll see, you know, how they turn it around. Udyr coming back once again, and they don't see him. They did see him pass by this ward here, so Lee Sin did a nice job of you know, sending that over there. But I don't know, we'll see how he pressures this bot lane.
Yeah, but he still does. Even with the support down, Candy Panda is still choosing to get a little bit aggressive. Neats with some shots, looking for more true damage, looking for those silver bolts. He's got it, but Neats, will he go down here? Yes, he will. Candy Panda still getting credit for that one, escaping very low. Libic taking some damage as he's waddling on back. Looks to probably get a few more damage on some of those minions, get some farm for himself, wait for the AD carry to come back. And this is the problem. When you have a Vayne down there in the bot lane, very squishy, you get caught. You get caught with those vines, you're gonna go down.
Yeah, perfect baiting. Candy Panda was able to bait him into the Zyra, recognizing that and Soaz drops very quickly. Kuban is able to take him down. So he's just been slowly wearing at him. And I don't know if, you know, Soaz is having some issues, because they did say he has been, but hopefully everything's okay. But, you know, it was kind of, I don't know. It's a difficult situation, but we'll see how that progresses going forward. Vladimir can do very well versus Malphite early on. Once Malphite gets some, you know, items and everything, he's usually tanky enough. But Vladimir can wear down the shield, and if you constantly pressure Vladimir, you can beat him up. But usually you can kind of sit back as Malphite and just play defensively for a second and allow that shield to regenerate, and then you'll be okay. Yep. And he actually was level 6 and didn't hit the.
Well, he didn't level it. He hit 6. Yeah, but he didn't level it up as he was going through. And even then, Kuban actually burned the Ghost and the Ignite onto that one, so even if Soaz did flash away, I'm pretty sure that Kuban was going to be able to close the gap for the kill anyway. We're just going to take a quick look at it once again. Soaz, there you go.
He's DC'd, but I mean, if he was going to sit there, Kuban would have had the kill.
Right.
He should have been able to get out of there otherwise. But yeah, that's kind of a tough situation. We'll see how that kind of impacts the lane. Malphite doesn't need a lot of gold, but the issue is if Vladimir gets to snowball and then can just shut down that top lane, you know, it's going to put a lot of pressure on the map, and they're already losing the jungle. So that's 2 lanes now that are going to be under a lot of pressure. It's going to allow, if Vladimir is winning the top lane, it's going to allow Udyr to just put that much more pressure on the bottom lane. So it kind of all goes back to the bottom lane. If Kuban's in the lead in the top lane, then it's going to make things difficult on Candy Panda and N-Rated, even if they are already in a really good position in that lane.
Yep, and we also got let's also take a look quick about how Lux and Diana are doing also, and you got a massive farm lead actually onto Zaru here. You do have the rings starting to stack up there for Diana. I don't believe Lux is even actually backed yet. Let's see how much money does she have.
She hasn't backed yet, and that's to be expected. Yeah. You know, Diana, you have to play kind of defensively early at your melee. Yeah, she has a decent amount of gold. She can spend something. We'll see what she's kind of building. Probably going to want to get some damage pretty early on. You know, we'll see if she rushes like a Rabadon or something. But early on, you expect Diana to lose. Then once Diana gets a couple levels, now that she's 5, 5, Diana can AoE clear the minion waves fairly easily. Once she's 6, you know, she can be a little bit more aggressive, and her farm will, you know, drastically increase.
All right, Unpause going to be back in. Zaru using the ult on the mini wave in mid, looking to clear a little bit of time. Zaru is out of mana, so going to be forced to back here, and we'll see what he picks up to bring back with him into the lane. Chalice of Harmony and a Doran's Ring right back in, so a lot of mana for that mid. Going to have the extra magic resist also, which is going to be immensely helpful against someone like Diana, who has so much burst in the kit.
Oh, and Rated zoning off Neats here. Wants to pick him off.
Neats knows too.
Forward, the
wow.
just not hitting, but still gets some damage. Forces out the tumble.
Dude, that's a nail biter, dude. Like every single time those come in, you just gotta make sure you have those snap reactions.
And they're zoning him as a result. He's actually going down.
Whoa! Wow. That's a lot.
Yeah, the burst damage is incredible, and not being able to get away from the charm is really brutal. They could actually consider going for Dragon shortly, but we'll see, you know, whether or not they pursue that. One thing that's going to be interesting with Lux is how she can manipulate shadows in the game. That's kind of something very unique to Lux because of her long range. You can do cool things in the mid lane, like shoot off from, you know, behind walls, like the river walls in particular. Try and scare people from behind there, or, you know, coming around corners in the jungle. You know, it's always kind of a nice opportunity for Lux to try and grab someone.
Yeah, and those are still relatively like recent changes to her kit too.
Right there, that was actually a good example.
That was good, yeah.
Right here, XPK didn't have vision, so she came right from behind this wall and threw the snare over the wall.
Very well done. Very well done. Cyanide will be. Oh, gets the steal. Was that blind?
It was blind. He saw
wow.
that XPK was moving over for the blue, and he's like, all right, yeah, I'll throw this off.
Wow. The lasers on that short of a cooldown where you can just try it out like that, and hey, it worked out. I'm sure Star's got to be pretty happy with himself on that one. Not to mention the fact that now when MYM's blue comes up, Udyr can take it. He'll have the extra mana regen, and also the blue buff will provide with a little bit more experience. He'll be able to just soar off even further, especially after stealing red buff here, knowing that, you know, Lee Sin probably discouraged after losing the blue, may not be immediately going for the red, and Mokadi's right on that one. With the red steal, going to be leaving the jungle rather quickly after that.
Yeah, and that's brutal. That's the issue with Udyr getting ahead, but also having Lux doing well, because Lux does offering that counter jungling from the mid lane. So they'll be able to pressure. Udyr is coming in from behind. Mokade, he's going to be able to close on someone. The question is, who is it going to be? He flashes for Candy Panda. Candy Panda barely gets out of there. The ult from Zyra almost taking down Neats, and Living throwing off the ult. The Ezreal ultimate just can't pick her. But nice job getting out of there. Very close to going down, and Lux is actually coming down. She doesn't know where Candy Panda is, and she actually just misses. It was right by
inches. Absolute inches, but Enraid is still caught under tower. You got the condemn throw him against the wall, forcing the flash out. You got the true damage from Vayne. It's got to be enough, but the tower, not going to be damage to the passive though, will take care of the rest of the mess.
Yeah, and Candy Panda actually picked up Nunu on his way out. There's the bind getting Zaru out of there, but nice turnaround from Fnatic in that kind of hectic fight. They were able to just pick off a number of members.
So Diana also looking for the Invaded Blue, still hungry for a blue buff, kind of still wants one for herself, was poking into the jungle, but Udyr is there to dissuade her. You got Kuban also here top lane, continuing the push. How's that creep battle going? A pretty huge 35 creep advantage for Kuban, plus 1 kill there in the top lane. That is brutal, absolutely brutal, but Soaz got the lucky pick. I mean, he's building a little bit of AP on Malphite. Here we go. A little bit of a deja vu there, but Soaz, this time with the point in the ultimate, does force out. He will be forced to back more time for Vlad to farm, and that's never a good thing.
Yeah, I mean, usually you would say it's kind of a bad thing to have to use the Malphite ultimate, but that's not really a concern. He's not going to be going for kills.
Yeah.
And Vlad is easily countering him out now, so that's a real struggle for them in that top lane. You know, so we'll see. They really need to put a lot of pressure around the rest of the map to try and dissuade them from being so aggressive. And MYM, they are trying to drop this bottom lane. Zaru is still sitting here. Lee Sin, with the backup, doesn't want to allow them to tower dive, but it is opening up an opportunity for Diana in this mid lane. And XPK, he's getting some nice farm. He is catching up a little bit. Actually diving in on Mokade a little bit will get some nice damage, then back off, so he's going to be able to farm nicely.
And Mokade is definitely tanky enough. He does have the shields, got turtle stance. He can withstand the burst a little bit more, actually a little bit more than most of the rest of his team would, at the very least. So if you're going to be sending someone there to to run the mid, Udyr's the best choice. And Lux is just spending so much time here. For very little gain. You had that engage onto the tower, but the damage was minimal, and Ezreal ult, very good wave clearing tool, was able to let the pressure off of the tower there from Fnatic. But the blue buff is still up for grabs, and Zaru, the enemy blue buff just running out, is now going to take their own. And this is very good timing on the buffs here from MYM too, so they're timing it. Slugate will steal. By the time the one we steal is done, we can now grab ours, and they're layering out very well.
Yeah, no, the jungle control that they have with Lux and Udyr is just phenomenal. But once Diana starts to get in the game, I think they're going to be able to turn it around a little bit. So XPK is level 8 now. He's starting to get in there. We'll see what kind of pressure they can put. And Lux has had to sit bot a little bit because of all the pressure from N-Rated and Candy Panda. They're able to just bully around Vayne. And so far, Vayne is really far behind in farm. 56 and 12 minutes. Not necessarily devastating at this point, but forcing these constant fights, it's preventing Vayne from having an opportunity to farm and really slowing down her build a lot, which means that she's probably not going to have any items that she needs until like 25-minute mark, 30-minute mark even, which is really delaying them, particularly since Lux is a better early and mid-game champion. If they're delaying Vayne's late game, then that's going to be a struggle for them.
Yeah, and, the 30 creep disadvantage, I mean, for most AD carries, yeah, it's not the greatest situation, but what makes this a far less than ideal situation is you also have 3 deaths on Vayne already on top of that, which can be a really bad situation. But you also have the top tier 1 going down. Vlad going to be taking that one. Malphite's going to have the lane naturally push into him a little bit more, so he can go and catch up on some of that. Only died once there in the top lane to that earlier dive from Vlad. Needs still looking to tumble out from those roots, and he's completely zoned.
He has to sit a mile off these minion waves. His only hope is if they push him into the tower. So Candy Panda's just sitting back now because he knows how defensively he needs to play.
Mokade coming down through the river. You got the ult popping up from knees. You got Livic with the ult, just looking to kill time, keeping everyone slowed. You got the Zyra ult, only get Mokade that one. Kick backwards from he's down on it to Udyr, but N-Rated will still go down. The passive is still up and gonna grab the kill on the Vayne once again. And Mokade just so lucky getting out with a pixel of health on that one.
Yeah, Lee Sin actually taking back into Zyra, maybe getting them killed a little bit there, but they were able to retreat a little bit. It is an even exchange, except that Vayne does go down, so that's more in their benefit. It allows Ezreal to just continue snowballing, so that's actually works out perfectly for them, losing the support for the AD carry. Lux is putting a lot of pressure on this mid tower, so that's going to allow her to just continue to try and snowball the other lanes like she's been trying to do. So she wants to use that map mobility that she has with those movement speed runes and masteries, but we'll see how Vayne can try and get in this. The Q in from Side-Eye, the slow, and one more attack. Candy Panda picks him up very easily. They will be able to back off now, and Vayne's falling further and further behind in this bottom lane.
Yeah, I'm not sure if, in hindsight, Livic sticking around may have not been the greatest idea in the world, especially when you have all of your summoners blown and no ult. If ult was up, it would have been a little bit of an easier time. We've gotten some damage and everyone to retreat, but still that would not have been enough. Mokade back in the game. He does have an Oracles, looking to clear some wards right there on the Trier ramp. Gonna take care of that one. There's not a whole... Actually, I think there's no ward coverage from Fnatic at this point. Their wards have been bought, and there you go. Zyra's back in, looking to get the coverage. You also got the seeds from Zyra. They do also provide vision. But now with Udyr on that Oracles, it's going to be a little bit of a more difficult time to keep that awareness up.
Yeah, they haven't really been buying any for a while because recognizing that, but we'll see. It just kind of affects your style of play. They recognize that Udyr's being very aggressive, but top lane, Udyr's never going to go top. He's really just going to sit mid, bot, and mid was going to be kind of difficult. Diana has enough mobility and range clearing that it's going to be tough for Udyr to gank mid. So really all they need to do, Fnatic needs to do, is have Cyanide kind of focus on the bottom lane to try and counter out Mokade a little bit. They are likely going to be losing this dragon though, so MYM will be able to pick that up. That's a really nice advantage. But actually, yes, Udyr does take it down. Candy Panda trying to get the steal along with N-Rated. But, really safe play, and it continues their gold advantage. But unfortunately for MYM right now, the gold, Vladimir's going to be doing great, but there's also a lot of gold into Lux, and they don't have much into Vayne right now, which is going to be a struggle.
Yeah, and Vayne, especially Vayne. On most AD carries, they require some level of farm to keep their damage output up, but Vayne especially so. She can drop off so huge. She's only got Doran's and the Zeal. Granted, the attack speed is going to help that true damage come out a little bit more often, but you need something heavy hitting to go along with it. You need something like a Bloodthirster to just keep that damage output up. And yeah, true damage is great. True damage is fine, but you need something a little bit more. And in 04 Vayne, not the greatest in the world.
Though by the same merit, it has been a popular build in the past to just go for the Phantom Dancer.
It has.
Malphite is going in from behind. Zaru is going to see him, though, catching him with the E, so they didn't have vision. Really nice awareness from Lux. But, so Vayne's going to have enough damage. I mean, it's not going to be, you know, that Vayne's carrying, but
right.
Vladimir is going to have enough damage to single-handedly win the fights, and that's kind of what MOM wants right now. They want Vladimir to just single-handedly win those fights. They want Lux to be able to take people off, and then with so much pressure, or so much of Fnatic's attention going to Vladimir, then maybe Vayne can do something. Maybe Vayne can clear out some of those kills as well.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. Candypan again chunked out a little bit. Needs taking damage in return, but you do have those Zyra plants. Always, always, always keeping MYM zoned out of this bottom lane. It is still a bit of a struggle. Livic just running back and forth and Candypan with the harass. But here comes Lux looking for a little bit of damage. You got the roots. Not going to be grabbing anyone. Livic with the flash and the snowball down onto Enraid. Keep him behind. Nice flash away from Enraid from the Lux behind Ezreal ult, frontloading some more damage. But here comes the kick. Livic going to be going down very quickly. Cyanide did get condemned, but Neats very squishy. You got the flash ult from Sun. Flash away from Zaru. Very well done. I think nearly everyone's used their flash. You got the Lux ult coming on in. Candypan is the only one who hasn't used his flash, who's still involved in this fight, but he is very low. He needs to exercise a lot of caution here. Mokadi actually also has his flash up, but he's there. He's for the tanking, and he's not going to be looking to flash stun, especially not in this situation.
Yeah, really nice play there from both teams. Keeping Neats alive was huge. And a little tumble, avoiding the Malphite. Mokade trying to come in, but they will be safe. But they are actually going to pressure this tower a lot. They might be able to take it down. XPK does catch on Kuban, and actually Cyanide
nice.
Using the Q over the wall. They are all very low right now. They should be able to pick that up. Diana, or Cyanide almost going down to that Lux ult, but they're safe. They grab the Vlad.
A good effort on Kuban to actually travel on down, but I don't think he was expecting a 1v5 in enemy jungle. He didn't expect everyone to actually collapse right back in. But that does open up some time for the bot tier 1 to fall. MYM going to be grabbing that one. Have a little bit more gold to extend the lead that they still actually have. Mokadi with the stun down on Enraid, followed up with the snowball, and that's going to be quick work of the plant lady. Passive, not going to be grabbing a kill like he has before. But Ezreal ult still looking for more damage, misses all of the champs, but he's looking to clear the wave. And back for the Vayne. She's going to have a little bit more money to spend, and I think she may actually have enough for that Phantom Dancer, but you got the kick. Cyanide coming in with the Q, does get vision. Lux ult is already back up, more damage, and now Vayne is looking okay. You're still managing to connect with those kills, and I think right now too, Fnatic's focusing a little bit too much on her. It's like, well, Vayne's naturally the easy target. Yeah. But by the way, the rest of her team does damage.
Yeah, they're trying to burst her down, but she wasn't really worth anything at that point, and isn't really doing a lot, and Lux has enough damage that they can just bait her. So that's actually pretty significant, the fact that Lux can throw up those binds to protect Vayne.
Yeah.
You know, it's going to be kind of interesting later on if they can maybe bait in XPK or, you know, Cyanide again in later fights, and then Lux just destroys them. But Zaru has the damage right now. He is incredibly strong. He is going for that Athene's Own Holy Grail, since he does need a lot of that spam ability. But definitely working out pretty well for them so far. And we'll see. Fnatic actually being pushed on pretty aggressively right now. As we see Fnatic, they're pretty strong about keeping lanes pushed. You know, they try and push down towers fairly early, but right now MYM is just, you know, bullying them all over the map, and as a result, they're getting a nice 3k gold advantage from it.
Yep, and also with that kill that Vayne got earlier, it's like, hey, you got a Phantom Dancer now. You're a little bit, you know, your damage output's significantly increased. So now Needs is in a little bit better position than he was previous. You got the stun being, you got the blind being evaded by Candy Panda. Gonna be shifting on out there, looking for more damage on the Livic. The Ezreal ult gonna be more than enough to take down the Nunu, and you got plays from Zyra running interference. Mokadi out in front just to tank the damage. and Zaru will not be able to assist anymore on that. You got most of Fnatic wandering around. They're sticking around the mid and bot, and you got XPK free farming top lane, taking that farm instead of it going to Soaz.
Yeah, he needs to keep his farm up so that he can be very aggressive in the mid game. He does have a DFG now, so his quick burst potential is going to be huge. But both teams have pretty good kiting with the Zyra and with the Lux. They can both kind of bait out fights and try and snare people. So that's kind of why Zaru, he's trying to be very aggressive and press his Lux advantage, but it's just not letting him because of the long range snares that Zyra has. So they both kind of counter each other out. So we'll see how that kind of factors in. But Needs is catching up and getting that Phantom Dancer first, like we kind of mentioned earlier. The W, you get enough damage from just attack speed, and then you get a nice chunk of bonus damage from your ultimate as well. So it just gives her a little bit more mobility and survivability, but still the focus is on Kuban and what he can do in fights.
Dragon is back up, the pit is warded. Udyr still does have the oracles, he hasn't died yet, but this is not the best opportunity to go in clearing wards because you do have the rest of Fnatic not too far behind everyone. All 10 members of the game are very close, looking to contest this Dragon back and forth, juking from MYM, trying to force something out. Zyra going down, you got damage down onto the plant just to make it go down a little bit quicker, but you also got Lux starting off with the ult, getting a little bit of vision to see if anyone from Fnatic was actually behind in those back rushes.
She was clearing the mid lane. Ezreal was pushing the tower, and she was able to clear out the minion wave to prevent him from pushing, because they know they're already stalling at Dragon. So at Candy Panda, he wanted to get that push going mid to try and take something while they were stalling.
Double purpose.
Yeah.
It actually does more than one thing, and that's what makes champs like Lux that versatile and that good in competitions like this. But XPK out in front. A little bit of a hairy spot there. Udyr was running the charge, but Soaz is waiting in that bush. Mokade finds him out, but no action will be taken from Fnatic on the wandering Udyr. And everyone's just going to back off of Dragon just for a second. There's still plenty of ward coverage that Udyr needs to clear out here that Fnatic has placed down. And you also have the orb giving a little bit of vision from Lux onto the back line of Fnatic. You have so many plants in that bush, it's kind of silly. You have plants in a bush? I never.
Yeah, but they are going to back off. They're actually going to drop this Dragon fairly quickly. Diana is coming in from the side, but it's going to be very dangerous for her, and they're completely split. Cyanide shielding over the wall, trying to steal it. They cannot, but they want to back off here. The bind from Zaru, though, isn't going to let it happen. Cyanide's going to drop there. The light hit does hit once. Blackbear coming right into the middle of the team. So it's trying to turn it around, but he does go down. And Ezreal as well. They're trying to get the ultimate on the Needs, but they just can't burst anything down. Cyanide, fancy. They are able to grab it here. It's actually a great opportunity for them to turn it around. We'll see. Can XPK turn it around, get these kills? Candy Panda as well. They are all very low if they can get back.
And with that Oracle's going down on Natalie here, is a huge victory for Fnatic. They cannot get any of these low champs. And rated, getting the kill down on Anise and Kuban Zaru. You got the missing shot coming from Candy Panda, not enough to take out the Vlad. You got the laser from Lux, barely missing the Ezreal as he's juking through in the bush. You got the stun down on XPK as he coming up the ramp. The ward did see him, but Kuban is very, very low. XPK, can he close the gap? You got the shift on over, but used the jump just to get to the minions, will not be able to get that kill. You also got a tower going down in the mid. Candy Panda finishing that one along with the minions. This has been a huge turn of events and a lot of gold in the pocket of Fnatic.
Yeah, Fnatic actually has a little bit better poke than MYM because they only have Lux really, but the rest of the team is very short range. Zaru is trying to turn it over. XPK, just barely grabbing Lux at the end there with the Q. But Fnatic, they have a little bit more range with their champions, with Ezreal and Zyra, and Diana can poke as well. Whereas MYM, they kind of need to force a full head-on-head fight.
That, and also there is also a little bit of disengage from Fnatic that MYM doesn't quite have. You got shift from Ezreal. You got Diana with the ultimate. You also got Cyanide, who's on the lead sit. He's a very mobile champ. When MYM goes in for these fights, they are committed, especially once Vayne pops the ult, starts tumbling in, looking for damage. They have no real huge disengage other than Nunu. So Fnatic, they can still, not only do they have that poke, they also have the juke, they have that kiting.
Yeah, no, they do have really nice kiting potential with Zyra and Lee Sin moving all over the place. But we'll see, how they can try and turn it around. They've already closed the gap in gold pretty significantly.
Yeah.
But they still have a significantly more farm AD carry. and Ezreal has, the mobility that he has over Vayne, but also has that kind of poke damage. So we'll see how they force it. Vayne is down bot. They did take her out. They are all mid, so if they can try and force a fight here, Malphite actually trying to steal the red.
So as you saw in the last fight, he used his ultimate straight down into the backline, isolating himself from the rest of the team, and that did result in quick work with him, but it opened up MYM a little bit more for to get their focus on and take out a few more champs. The Fnatic still getting aggressive. They're here looking to invade. They have the Wraiths going down very quick, and you're seeing those Zyra plants doing so much work, providing that vision, getting damage from from very tough spots, like over those walls. And you have the push continuing in mid, but Fnatic looking to break off. Their red buff is up. They can grab that. And Neil's got a pretty decent wave that's pushing in on the top lane, so you can take care of that one.
Yeah, so we'll just split off for a second. Udyr, he didn't pre-buy the oracles from the previous fight, so that's kind of a struggle for MYM. It will allow Fnatic to be much more aggressive with warding. Like we see already, they have a lot more ward coverage around that Baron pit. But I don't know. I think if MYM is able to push up on the Fnatic, then they're because everything's central, it will allow Lux to really do a lot of damage. You can try and snare people. Yeah. Everyone will be close together. The only concern is they don't have very good pushing potential, and that's kind of a struggle for MYM. The AP carries, they're going to be able to push towers a little bit, but because Vayne is such short range, it's going to be very difficult for her, and Zyra is always going to be able to counter that out pretty aggressively.
But also keep in mind too that Zyra and Kuban, they're very close to level 16. They're both very close to those level 3 ults. And when you have those those APs with big damage, get those level 3 ults. Especially for Lux, because that laser goes on such a short cooldown. And with the proper farm and quite a bit of you get some magic pen on her also, that could be pretty decent clear. That could be pretty decent damage.
Yeah, so we'll see what Fnatic's trying to do right now. They do have pretty good Baron control. With Cyanide having the Rizzles and then Candy Panda, on Ezreal, and then Zyra as well. They can drop Baron very quickly. They're just a little bit concerned about, the Lux steal or just forcing fights in the jungle. They don't really want to force any in the jungle, but we'll see. They are starting to move as a team again, but they don't have an Oracle, so that kind of slows things down a little bit. Usually before you try and pressure Baron, you want to get an Oracle so you can clear out some wards. They are going to be able to get this top tower pretty quickly, and Rated should be able to grab that with the ceilings. No, just out of range, but they do have to get back quickly because MYM, they're countering it with a push right down the mid lane.
Yep, Fnatic decided to go for that push because they saw Vayne in the bot lane. It's like, well, AD carry's not there. We could force a 4v5, might as well make the transition, and Candy Panda grabs a tier 1 there in top lane. And seeing that position change, MYM just tried to go for something in mid, but realizing the folly, seeing as they already lost the tower, and all Fnatic is right back there in the mid, they have to back off. They cannot fight, especially when Saru had to go back. Did buy the death cap, so it's going to be a lot more AP, a lot more damage coming from Lux, but out of position, could not capitalize on that mid push.
Yeah, but Vayne is down bot, so I don't think they stall her. I don't think Vayne actually went down to the minion wave, but they are pushing down mid. And there's the follow-up from N-Graded. They take down Zaru. That is massive.
That's huge.
For Fnatic if they can get rid of that Lux. So they're in a huge position right now.
Yeah, right now MYM needs both Lux and Vlad to live through these fights because those are the two primary sources of damage for MYM. And without that Lux, Fnatic is free to push in on this. Mokade get a little bit too big for his britches. Wanted to stun. He needs to look into 1v1. Candy Panda out on the side, but XPK will be having none of that. Ult is still popped on to Vayne, but not for long. Kuban with the level 3 ult is stuck in the pool, is also still ignited. Zyra ult right in front, right on top of the tower, popping up Libic. You got XPK dashing on in, looking for damage on Mokade, forcing the flash out from Nuno also, and Fnatic with the creep support, take down to mid, tier 3, throwing down a ward, taking out the inhib, and after this they will back off, heal, and they can actually open up for Baron.
Yeah, and that's actually one of the struggles. Do you finish it? Go back, you fool! XPK will be able to grab that. But that's one of the struggles
when that happens.
With Lux is she does have really good range, but she lacks mobility. So having a strong initiation, it allows them to pick them up very quickly. And they have two champions, Lux and Vayne, who are really vulnerable to that. So Malphite, Soaz just recognizing, all right, I've got Lux here, I'm just going to go for it. They pick up the kill, and that was single-handedly what won them that fight. Because then once they did, they're able to kite very easily. And MYM, they don't actually have a good means of closing the distance onto Fnatic, which is a big struggle for them. Because Ezreal, Zyra, and Lee Sin
Sin. They can all kite very effectively. They can kite as a team. And then MYM is just going to be kind of running around in circles. So that's going to be kind of interesting to see what MYM tries to do to negate that kiting potential from Fnatic.
Yeah. And this also explains a little bit why we saw those movement speed quints onto Lux, recognizing, you know what, I'm not as mobile. I need to beef up my speed just a little bit, but as you saw, when we get into situations like that, it just does not help, not in the least. He even got Shirley's down onto Udyr, but with so much burst damage potential coming from Fnatic also, it's rough. It's really rough to try to make the best out of it.
You try and Shirley's into him, and Rated can
Just completely shut you down with the snare, and you just don't really get anything done. But we'll see that MYM, they are going for the Dragons. They're going to be able to pick that up really easily. That's going to help them even in the gold. And their late game strength is very strong if they get Vayne and Vlad going. The only concern is keeping Fnatic in place. So really, MYM needs to be in the driver's seat in order to force fight. They need to be strong enough that Fnatic can't fight, that they have to be like, all right, we have to fight him here, and then, you know, MYM can win this matchup. So that's going to take a while, actually. MYM probably needs to farm until Vayne gets like another, you know, large damage item like an IE or something. And, you know, Mokade in particular gets a little bit tankier.
You also got Vlad and Lux building a crap load of Magic Pen. You got the Abyssal. Both of them have the Haunted Guys. Both of them have the Spell Pen boots. And you're seeing Fnatic build appropriately. You have the proper magic resist on the right champs. You got Malphite tanking up. You got an Abyssal to match coming in from Diana. Also,
they finally have the Aegis.
And they finally have the Aegis too, which is going to be huge. Mokade out in front, gets caught by the Zyra bind. Going to be sending him backwards. There's the Shirley's pop. Just in retreat, you have the bind from a distance, actually picking up N-Rate and XPK, but no extra damage coming off of that. MYM just wants to reposition, get behind the tower, and make sure they can defend this push.
Yeah, they had the Hunting Guys very early. Those were early item purchases for both of them. N-Rated actually using their Zonias, so that's kind of unfortunate. So the Haunting Guys is very nice, but they finally have the Aegis to try and counter them.
Look at this position.
They're starting to get into MR. N-Rated.
But you got Mokade out in front. I think you saw two separate pop-ups. You got Desire and Malphite all very well done to take out the front line. Take Kuban getting very low, forcing out the pool, but he is still ignited. The double kill coming in from Candy Panda, making quick work of the Vlad. Only Libic and Zaru are up from MYM. You sacrifice the support for the jungler and AP and the AD. That's a pretty good trade from Fnatic, and Candy Panda still getting aggressive. Just wants to get into the base. Fnatic is pushing to win on this one. They got plenty of time before Mokade and needs to come back up. They may have the damage. XPK diving on in, wants to take out Zaru quite quick. That the laser doing plenty of damage in the shutdown from Lux going down onto Diana, but they still manage to get a Nexus turret. Candy Panda still sticking around. Cyanide can also provide a little bit of support there also, but with one Nexus turret down, there's a little bit extra goal from Fnatic. They're gonna play it safe and they're gonna back off.
Yeah, I am actually gonna go back for a second because here's the issue. N-Rated was bound over the wall. Lux probably could have taken him out by himself. Like, Lux has enough damage. Wow. Malphite and Zyra. And it's a long turnaround because of the gold right here in the geography. It forces Vayne to really split from the team. So they were actually split in half by this wall here, and it just a quick burst. She ran right into it. She didn't have any, good escape route, and that's kind of the difficulty of Vayne using that tumble in an offensive manner. It dangerous situations, but we'll see how they can continue to force Fnatic back. And Fnatic actually, as MYM is going for this quick Baron, Fnatic, they're not quite back in time to defend this.
Yep, MYM does get the sneak. There was plenty of time to grab it while Fnatic was actually back at their own base to try and recover from that previous push. So there is MYM at the very least has stalled out the game just a little bit more, but they do have an inhibitor down still. They're down one Nexus turret, and they still have a push that they need to defend here coming up in from the mid. Libic looking for damage. He's got himself caught just a little bit. May not have the damage to capitalize on all this. He got Lux Laser coming in. Zaru gonna get the kill down on the Lee Sin, forcing them back just a little bit, but MYM still needs to sit back and defend on this.
Yeah, so they are able to pick up that kill. It is going to stall the game a little bit for Fnatic. Not having the Baron regen, they can't really poke them down quite as effectively, so the fights are very long so far. But the Baron regen will allow MYM to kite a little bit and not quite be worn down. But we'll see if Fnatic can take that inhibitor advantage. The inhibitor is actually back up, so they need to pressure in once again and steal that. But they might be a little bit skittish now because of how strong Vladimir is at this point, and that Vayne is starting to get kind of beefy as well.
At the very least, you can kill time until the Baron buff goes down and kill 3 minutes, just trying to shove every lane, still force out objectives. And Fnatic still has a pretty good map advantage also.
But they don't want to kill 3 minutes right now. That's what they're going to end up having to do against the Baron buff, is just wait for it to go out. But it's stalling them down when they were close to winning the game, and it's just giving MYM an opportunity to come back in the game, which is never a good thing. So it is a big opportunity for MYM. It was a huge Baron, great decision on their part, recognizing that Fnatic, they had just gone back, they weren't going to have time to defend it, and that's kind of always a dangerous opportunity. But we'll see how Fnatic decides to play this. They could probably go down the lane and try and poke out like the top or the bottom lane, but they're playing really defensively right now. They know that Lux's initiation is such long range. They don't want to get picked off, and then all of a sudden give MYM an opportunity to counter push and get right back into this game.
Yeah, and also you see the builds coming now in from the extra farm that has been gained. Void Staff down onto Lux. That's going to be hurting immensely more. Hasn't even finished the Athenes yet. Just hasn't had the time to even do so. But you do look on Fnatic's side. You look at Diana. Diana has the Guardian Angel, so going to be having that extra life, a little bit more damage coming from another rod being purchased also. So that's going to be a little bit more time, and Diana's going to be out in front of the fights anyway. All the more reason, it's like, hey, well, we could focus her, but she's going to be coming right back. It's going to kill more time for XPK to be dealing damage in these fights when they do come along. You do have Vayne also looking to build up. Last Whisper, now the BF Sword. It's going to be an incredibly late Bloodthirster, but at least he got it. And at least now Vayne's getting the farm to support herself.
Yeah, I actually think that Fnatic is still stronger in team fights right now, despite the fact that the gold advantage has been onto MYM, but they need to be careful. They can't allow just a full-on fight where Vladimir can get really nice AoE. They need to just keep on poking and doing what they've been doing, try and pick off Vayne, try and pick off Lux with Malphite. And if they can do that, then I think they should be able to win these fights pretty easily. But they are a little bit scared right now, and MYM, they're showing a little bit more bravado. They're making their way down the mid lane. They will probably be able to pick up this mid tower. It's going to be close if Fnatic's going to be back there in time.
Baron buff going to be gone in 30 seconds. Mokaru leading the charge, is bound by Zyra, taking some damage, throws up the turtle stance, and will walk away from that one. And MYM, granted they still have the Baron buff for a little while, they are scared to push on that too, recognizing how much CC they may be dealing with here. So as with an ultimate right onto the front line could mean doom again. And as we've seen earlier on in this game, we saw how easy it can be for Fnatic to focus down someone like Zaru if they're given the opportunity and take him out of the fight completely.
Yeah, but having Udyr, with how tanky he is, Udyr is actually a really nice pick in this situation. Not just because of the early counter jungling that we saw, but he has his shield plus Lux's shield, which is going to allow him to just completely absorb a lot of the poke damage from Fnatic. The Baron is down, so they will take a little bit more, but it helps negate some of the harass from XPK and Candy Panda in particular, since Udyr can just tank that front line, and that's going to help take some pressure off of Vayne in the back. So, I don't know, we'll see how Fnatic kind of deals with that, but now with the Baron down, I would be kind of expecting Fnatic to try and make their way into the base once again.
Baron's going to be back up around 4130, so should keep an eye onto that.
Going with a Guardian Angel, which is just like, I don't know, wild on the support.
Yeah.
It's just like, Sonya's and the GA, I don't want to die ever.
Well, I think it's just more of a time-killing opportunity. I think it's also N-rated recognizing that he's being focused down in a lot of these fights. So, yeah, for support, it's a very odd pick. But then again, support Zyra is odd in its own right. You see Zhonya's. We saw the Zhonya's earlier. And you still have the income to support. The game has gone long enough where you have the income to support this kind of build. But there's still plenty. I mean, you pick the Zhonya's also to get a little bit of damage to try and keep the tank up. And as you saw in that fight also up top lane, you saw how quickly N-rated got chunked out. If you as a support, you need to still try and stay relevant, but Zyra is not like most supports. You're seeing him actually stay up on the front lines to help out with the poke, not in the back.
Yeah, that's actually the more relevant thing, is the fact that Zyra does have to be at the front lines in order to pick people off and doesn't have any mobility. So she's a kiting champion, but because they're using her in an offensive manner, it's pulling her away from the back line where she's normally going to be safe. And so that's kind of the thought, is they don't want her to die, you know, that quickly. But we'll see. The rest of the team is mobile enough, and they are kind of sitting around again. So hopefully, you know, everything's okay with their connection. But they don't have very good ward coverage so far because, and actually, I don't think do they have an oracles? Libic does have an oracles. So we'll see if Fnatic counters that out a little bit. But I think Fnatic's just a little bit concerned right now. They don't want to fight in the jungle. They don't want to allow Lux to just pick someone off. Like, if Lux just binds someone and kills them, then all of a sudden Fnatic goes from the situation where they should be winning to just completely, you know, this game's thrown. So they're really being kind of cautious right now. They're actually waiting with Candy Panda. They want to try and see if he can bait out anyone. But the ward should catch him out, and they do all see them now.
You also got Cyanide a little bit too far away from the rest of the team. I think he's just doing some ward hunting on his own. There's still plenty of wards to be cleared out, actually from both teams, right out in front of the Baron, but he will be looking to just make his way back to the rest of his team. The mid inhibitor has respawned, so Fnatic, if they even want to think about attempting Baron when it comes back up in a little bit under 2 minutes, they need to take it out, and indeed they do. Back on off, they will be fine. But look at bot lane. Mokati in a bit of a desperate maneuver here, looking to take out the bot tier 2. He will be successful. It's just a matter of escaping. He could just recall. He's going to be fine. He's going to recall quick, but he has forced out Fnatic to be a little bit more defensive. Like, oh man, we just got a tower snuck on us.
Yeah, but they took an inhibitor, so that's a fine trade for Fnatic. They traded an inhibitor for a tower. It does open up the opportunities later on for Udyr to be very aggressive with pushing, and it actually opens up the opportunity where MYM, if they can start taking the second tier turrets, if they win one fight, they can maybe go for a base and go for an inhibitor, whereas when the second tier turrets are up, that's not, you don't really have enough time to do that. So it opens that up for them, but Fnatic's comfortable with that trade. The inhibitor pressure is going to be so strong for them. The key is they want to protect the Baron, and the Baron is going to be spawning shortly, but they probably could be pushing up the top lane. They're just a little bit concerned about this jungle. They're really scared they're going to get caught out in the jungle, so they're really just playing defensively right now and waiting until that Baron comes up again.
And rightly so, because as we saw before, they got caught. There's plenty of fights that have gone on in that jungle area before. Cyanide right there in the brush, clearing out that coverage. So Fnatic, with the Cyanide leading the charge, they're looking to clear things up just a little bit. You got MYM not too far behind, Libic out in front, throwing down wards. There's one still in the pit, and Cyanide is hesitant to clear out that ward in the back.
Well, he doesn't want Lux to grab him over the wall, which would just suck, and aggro the Baron as well. But they will be able to clear that out. So they do have the vision here. But MYM, they're trying to sneak around from the side. They're trying to see who they can grab. Enraid is very close. The bind does not hit for Zaru, though.
Nice. You got the seed in the brush. Did get vision involve MYM. The plan has been blown. And the Tri-Brush is still warded. Candy Panda going down huge. Lots of damage. 41 health he shifts away from. Yikes. That's Lux late game, man. That is exactly what happens.
Yeah, he needs to upgrade his defensive stuff. He had the Ninja Heavy early on, which allowed him to be very aggressive against Vayne, but he's not going to be facing a lot of physical damage pressure, so he really needs to, get a little bit more.
Sell those, get the upgrade.
MR, but we'll see what he decides to go from there. That's brutal, though. He did just buy a Megatron cloak, so that's huge for him. That's a very nice purchase. But Lux, that's the pressure that they're under, because Lux, as long as you don't fully engage on Lux, her cooldowns are pretty short. The issue is her cooldowns in a fight. Like, you get one cycle of your abilities off, and it's kind of rare to get a second one. So, that's we'll see. But if they can pick off Candy Panda in the future, that is huge for MYM.
Yeah, and I'm still just so blown away at that damage potential. And if Candy Panda actually did go down to that laser, that could have been MIM looking for a push down on the Baron. It's like, okay, you've lost your AD. We can push on this. We can try and take out this Baron, steal this Baron away from you once again. But Fnatic looking to engage. Now with Lux, with the orb in the pit, they do get vision. Fnatic now, recognizing they've been spotted, are a little bit shy, but you do have the Zyra plants in the middle of the pit, still engaging on the Baron, so he is not resetting. He is not regenerating health because of the plants. But XPK looking to take out Libic on the side, ports right over to him with the ult. stalled, but you got the laser coming from Lux. Will not be getting the steal. You got the Baron being picked up by Lee Sin, so Fnatic has the Baron buff. And Zaro going down very quickly along with Neats as Fnatic takes that in a very well-coordinated engage. Kuban gonna get caught here. Soaz throwing down the ult, does get a quick deal on the side. It takes out that Oracles, but will you survive? It is questionable. Yes, Soaz, he could get that slow. There it goes.
Paul says unlikely.
Very unlikely. He goes throwing down the pit. You got the Zonias, and then bop. Very well done.
Yeah, but that whole Baron engage was really nice from Fnatic. And they actually are going to have enough time, so they will be able to take this Nexus. There's no way that Makata is going to be able to defend this.
No.
So they're going to be pushing in. But they started off, they stalled, and they knew, all right, so Zyra, one of the strengths of Zyra is her plants. She has enough, the plants are tanky enough versus Baron that they can just constantly keep up the aggro. And so what she actually did, I'm actually going to go back real quick. They keep up the aggro until the E is down for Lux. And then they're just stalling right now because they want Lux to be out of vision range. So they see another Lux E, so they have to stall here. But then they stall just enough so that Lux can't steal it, and it allows XPK. They want to engage over the side and engage into Lux really. So Lux tries to steal it, but it still has 500 too much HP, so they're able to take that. Their entire team. Udyr is split because Udyr tried to get over the wall to pick him up, and they just had enough follow-up damage to take them down. But
wow,
really nice job by able to take that game. And yeah, we'll see what's going to happen. What are the changes coming into game number 2?
Just that timing, man. Like, that kind of timing, that kind of patience comes from a team like Fnatic. They've been around the block a few times. This is not their first rodeo, and it shows that the experience that Fnatic still can bring to the table. MYM, they have not been the LoL side of things has not been as around long enough as Fnatic has been, but that is truly experience talking in that last engage, and with this win, Fnatic taking game number 1 against Meet Your Makers.
Yeah, so really nice play. Taking a look at some of these stats, 10-0 and 9 on Candy Panda.
Jeez.
He really was just snowballing very early in the game. That's a brutal matchup, Vayne versus Ezreal. So Neat's not really in the best position, but having such an aggressive support was really dangerous. And the interesting thing about Zyra is it's kind of like that Morgana support where you're looking for the binds. However, Zyra, you can hit through the minion waves, and then compared with another support like Leona or something like that, you're not putting yourself at risk. So you can just throw off those defensive binds. Zyra has a lot of damage. It opens up Candy Panda on Ezreal to get a lot of damage, but you're still very safe. It's a very safe support. So I actually really like what Fnatic's done here, and it's actually interesting. People kind of talk about all the time, hey, Riot, where are the rest of our supports? We want to see more supports in the game. Here's a good example. Zyra is been shown to be an excellent support. Morgana as well,
and Yorick.
And so she's not designed to specifically to be a support, but she's able to put on that same kind of pressure.
We've also seen,
for a long time, yeah.
Yeah, Yorick support. We've even seen Fiddle support in the past too, and just there are other supports out there. You just need to have the team to actually back you up, and you need the strategy and you need the coordination for them to actually be successful. So with that, Fnatic taking game number 1. We're going to go to a quick break. Going to be back. Game number 2, Fnatic Raycall versus Meet Your Makers IPL5 qualifier number 4. We're going to see who goes to the semifinals. Be right back.